Wanted to give you all an update on the Epstein files. And today, Adelita Grijalva, who got elected in Arizona some 2 months ago, was finally sworn in. And so remember, she's the 218th vote, the 218th signature, which is a majority of the House of Representatives, that we needed in order to put the Epstein files for a vote to get them released. And so she got sworn in, and the first thing she did was went over and signed what's called a discharge petition, which is a way to go around the Speaker of the House if the Speaker of the House is keeping a bill from going to the floor for a full vote. You can get 218 members of Congress to sign it and force a vote. So that's what has happened. And the Speaker, Mike Johnson, has now said that he will put it up for a vote, I believe, next week. And so we'll actually get a vote on it. Now, there was some bombshell news this morning, which was there were more emails released by Democrats in the Epstein files that I believe they got from the estate. And in those files, if you had a chance to read them, you see that Epstein refers to Trump, talks about Donald Trump spending time with one of the victims in the Epstein case, and also talks about how it looks like what he's saying is Donald Trump never said anything about what he knew about Epstein and these quote unquote girls. And so that news came out in the morning. And then later on in the afternoon, we had the vote. But also, you see why, I've been saying for a while that this is a massive cover-up. And today we confirm that there is an attempted cover-up. The reason I say that is that Donald Trump was actively trying to get two people in particular, two Republican women, members of Congress, to take their names off of the discharge petition, to try to withdraw their names. And those two people were Nancy Mace of South Carolina, who I believe is running for governor now, and then Lauren Boebert, who's a congresswoman, Republican congresswoman, very far right from Colorado. And apparently they had Lauren Boebert in the Situation Room in the White House. Now, the Situation Room is the room where, as y'all have probably seen, these wartime decisions are made. When you go in there, you've got a very kind of heavy, very intense feeling to it. But also the White House, quite honestly, really across administrations, they will sometimes bring people in there to kind of make them feel special, legislators, senators, members of Congress. But it's very odd that they would bring Lauren Boebert and apparently have the Attorney General and Kash Patel, the FBI director, also in the meeting, from what I've been told. It makes me think that they're trying to twist her arm and suggest that there's some national security matter or something else like that involved. I don't know that, but knowing the purposes for which the Situation Room is used, it makes me think, it makes me wonder at least whether that's not the case. And so here's what you need to watch out for now, because it's going to go to the House floor for a vote. And once you get 218 signatures on the discharge petition, those folks can no longer, Nancy Mace and Lauren Boebert, they could no longer withdraw their names. So as soon as Adelita signed that discharge petition, the two legislators could no longer withdraw their names. I'm not saying that they intended to. I guess not, obviously, because their names remained on. But what I think may happen, or if the White House and Donald Trump are successful in strong-arming folks, Republicans, what they're going to try to do is, when it goes up for a vote, try to keep a majority of the Congress, try to convince some of those Republicans who signed the discharge petition to say this. You got to watch for this. They're going to try to get them to use this line. Well, I signed the discharge petition because I wanted it to come up for a vote because I thought that the Congress should get a vote on it and the American people should get a vote on it. But I have XYZ concern, some talking points that the White House will give them. And because of that, now that it's up for a vote, I'm going to vote no for XYZ reason. That's, I think, what you got to watch out for next week, what we have to watch out for next week. I hope that they follow through. They sign the discharge petition, and now they'll go and vote to release the files. But in the back of my mind, I also now, this is my 23rd year of public service. I spent 10 years in the state legislature in Texas. I'm in my 13th year here in Congress. I've seen, some of these legislative parlor games and how they try to pressure people. And I think the White House move now is to try to give them some talking points or some reasons that would allow them to say, well, hey, I wanted a public vote on it. It's just that, I'm going to vote no for XYZ reason. But I do want it all to be public. Now, but let's assume that the files, that the vote is actually successful, that the 218 people, and perhaps we pick up more now that we've got a public vote on it, that the bill passes in the House of Representatives. This is where your voice becomes especially important, because once it passes in the House, remember, you've got another chamber, it goes over to the Senate, and it's got to pass the United States Senate. And so John Thune and the Republican majority in the Senate are going to have a big decision to make. Are they going to be part of this cover-up? Are they going to help Donald Trump and the White House continue to cover up these abuses? Or are they going to take a vote and support opening up the Epstein files, releasing the Epstein files? During the course of this year, and it was true before in years past, but especially this year, when I've been at the grocery store, I remember at least once, at the doctor's office or the hospital, because I got to go every month, right, to get my shot, my treatment, and a few other places, people have said, hey, when are y'all going to release those Epstein files, right? So different places I've been around town in San Antonio and out of San Antonio, people ask me, when are y'all going to release those files? And I actually don't think all of those people were Democrats that asked me. So there is a real hunger among the American people for transparency and also for accountability. Today, Adelita, when you get sworn in, after a special election, you get to give kind of a 3 or 4 or 5 minute speech. In that speech, she acknowledged on the House floor that in the gallery, she had 2 of the victims in the Epstein case who were there in the gallery with her as her guests, who were witnessing her swearing in, because it meant that the discharge petition would finally have 218 signatures and we would get a vote on the House floor. So keep up your voice, keep speaking up. This has been a cover-up. The only way that we get full transparency and accountability, that we overcome this attempted cover-up, is by people speaking up and letting their representatives and their senators know that they want all of these files released. Because if you can imagine, just in the emails that have been released so far, the bombshell evidence about all this stuff, you can imagine what's remaining in the rest of those files. All right? See you soon.